Mindfulness meditation is probably the easiest and the most difficult form of meditation that there is. And you'll get this, you'll understand why in just a second. But the Journal of the American Medical Association's sub-journal, Psychiatry, AMA Psychiatry it's called, or JAMA Psychiatry, just published this amazing study that was done on 200 adults that were a 6-month study done in medical centers in Washington, Boston, and New York City, where they took a group of people who had been diagnosed with anxiety or disorders or depression or both, and half the group took a drug, Lexapro, or the generic version of it, and half the group did mindfulness meditation. And they did this for 6 months, and what they found was, when they were done, both groups had seen a 20% decrease in their symptoms. In other words, and the mindfulness meditation people were not taking the drugs. And the drug people were not doing the mindfulness meditation. And in fact, there was a number of people who had to drop out of the study. 10 patients dropped out of the study because they were taking the drug and they were getting the side effects of nausea, insomnia, and fatigue. Whereas there were no side effects for the people who are practicing mindfulness meditation. So how do you do mindfulness meditation? It's very simple, which is why it's so difficult. Mindfulness meditation, you sit quietly. Typically people will do, a minute or so of just kind of checking their body and doing deep breaths and sitting comfortably and just kind of depressurizing. You don't have to do any of that, but it's a nice way to start it. And then you just sit there quietly. And thoughts will pop into your head. And as those thoughts pop into your head, typically what happens is we hop on those trains and we go riding down the tracks. A thought pops into your head about, gee, I wonder what I'll have for lunch today. Well, yesterday's lunch wasn't so, but what I really would like is go to this restaurant. And well, last time we went to that restaurant, and pretty soon you're like 5 thoughts down the road from on this one particular track, from that one thought that popped up. That's how it normally works. So when you're doing mindfulness meditation, what you do is when that thought pops up, in your mind, you imagine touching it, like popping a balloon, and you say to yourself, thinking. And you just notice, hey, I was thinking. And that lets that thought go away. It vanishes. Now, it will very quickly be replaced with another thought. Hey, I wonder if the dog is scratching at the door. You touch that thought, say thinking to yourself, and just let it go away. And you just sit there and do that for 10, 15, 20 minutes a day. And what I can tell you from having done this for the better part of the last, more than 50 years, is that once you make this a part of your regular daily practice, your meditation practice, and I put that in quotes because of what I'm about to tell you, what you will discover is that, you can be driving down the street and suddenly you're thinking about, did I leave the stove on or whatever, and you can say, thinking, and just return to being present. Here's the cool thing about this. 99% of our lives we spend living in the past or the future, because those thoughts that come up are always about the past or the future. And we spend just a tiny fraction of our lives living in this moment, in the present. And so what mindfulness meditation does is it brings us to the moment, brings us to the present. And then you can notice what you're seeing and what you're hearing and what you're feeling and what you're smelling and what you're tasting. You can notice your senses. You can be, in fact, that's a great, one of the best exercises to start a meditation session is just to sit down and just notice what you see, and then notice what you hear, and then notice what you feel. Oh, my butt on the chair. It's kind of cold in here. Notice what you're smelling, coffee. Notice what you're tasting, the remnants of coffee. And then just repeat that 2 or 3 times. And what that does is it just brings you right into your body and right into the moment. And then as the thoughts pop up, thinking, bing, off it goes. So I didn't intend to start this out when I first pulled this up as a geeky science for the day. It was not my intention to teach you how to do mindfulness meditation, but for what it's worth, I hope it's useful. It has rescued me on many occasions from everything from insomnia and anxiety to just, you know, the normal, gee, life just slid by. How did that day go by so fast? Well, it went by so fast because you weren't there. You were spending most of the day thinking about the past and the future. So try living in the present. We'll be right back.